Good morning. This is drive time. Um, I am on my way home, and I was just thinking about. Um, I saw these young ladies driving, and they were happy in their car, and people bumping to their music and everything, and we never think about. Uh, this isn't negative, but we never think about the fact that everybody's going. Like everybody. Like nobody escapes. Like nobody. My friend of mine, an acquaintance, he says he believes that there are there are four lights, four lamps, and the four lamps represent your childhood, your young adulthood, and middle-aged, and then that last lamp. And he also said, and I may have mentioned in a previous video, posted or unposted, that he's only got a few good years left, so a few years left, so he ain't not worried about a lot of this stuff. And I was like, yo, Katt Williams said it too. He's like, I got a few. If you're 40, you got 20 good. If you're in your 40s, you got 20 good more years left. Don't do this, lady. 20 good more years left, and that's it for you, you know. And if you're in your 50s, you got about 15 or whatever good more years left. And I was like, I wouldn't let her in. And so, please don't hit my car, because you ain't supposed to be doing that. She's not supposed to be doing that. You on that side, you go this way and U-turn. She makes a U-turn in the middle of the street and then clogs up traffic, driving all crazy, and wants you to let her in. I'm not letting her in, because you ain't supposed to be in the street. And so you have a few years left. And so live la vida loca, so to speak, or just realize that. And so I was like, whoa, you think? He's like, yeah. He's like, actually, I think my niece, he doesn't have children. He said he thinks his niece is going to be the one that does his stuff. Did I run the red light? His stuff. And he's doing his own his own paperwork and stuff, as far as, you know, what's to be said, you know. And I was like, oh. And he said he was talking to some guy who was Muslim that he worked with, and they were talking about death and dying, and that they were talking about, he was talking about cost, and the guy is like, what do you mean cost? And he said, you know, stuff costs a lot of money. And the guy was like, no, well, doesn't. And the funny part about it, when I speak with him again, I'm gonna let him know the reason why the Muslim dude was not all up in arms about having all this life insurance and all this other stuff, is because they don't charge all that much money when you're a Muslim. And in certain markets, don't quote me all across the board, I just know with my brother, that whole thing was less than $500, honestly, because that was his mosque. And whether he supported it or not, I don't know. But according to my other brother who did the arrangements, he's like, it was $500 or something like that, I don't know. And I was floored. And, you know, this kind of thing, people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, or $20,000, $30,000 to lay a person away. And if you don't have it, then you don't have it. He's like, I'm gonna be cremated. What's $3,000? And the guy was like, $3,000, blah, blah, blah. So then they got to this whole thing about, you know, where you going after you pass away. And so you can't talk to people really about that, because everybody has their religion, and they're preparing for the afterlife. A lot of preparation for the afterlife. And so that you're comfortable in the afterlife. And and if you're Muslim, this and that, you don't cremate. So that was him and the guy had that kind of contention going on. Not like a bad contention, but a disagreement or a difference of opinion about that, because, you know, you don't cremate Muslims, you know. And I was like, okay, but if we were to play devil's advocate or talk about it, you don't need that particular vessel to go on. Your spirit's leaving the body. So why are you so worried about how you dispose of the last vessel? Now, I'm not an expert on it, nor am I even well versed on how this works. So, you know, I haven't researched any of it, you know, to get any other trains of thoughts about people's feelings on that, you know. And so I don't know. I cannot say with any authority or lack of authority what people are feeling, but I can tell you about what one person was feeling. And I remember my husband saying, I don't care, just throw me in the backyard with the dog, because he refused to even discuss the possibility that one of us could pass away unceremoniously or ceremoniously, and you got these babies, you know, or you don't have these babies and you're older because it's time for you to go. So he just refused to discuss it, because if I don't discuss it, it's not going to happen. Now, I'm going to attach to this mental illness. And the reason we're going to attach mental illness is because there's a lot of it going on, and with everybody. And to feel that you should do everything in this life in preparation for the next life, and even see yourself in the vessel you're in the next life, that you won't burn it or get rid of it, is kind of odd, because people don't take care of their bodies. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes we don't because of design. Sometimes we don't because of time. We just don't. I think if everyone took care of their vessel to the with the utmost importance, they still gonna go, you know. And then some people do themselves super dirty, you know. Sorry, hurt my pulled a muscle yesterday. And so you don't care about this vessel. Like, even now, the vessel we have, like, we need the vessel we have to do certain things, like the teeth we have. We need to eat the food that's here presented to us to live here. So you need those teeth, but do you need them in the afterlife? And apparently not, because any mummies or skeletal remains of a being that was here previously, the teeth are still on that skull. So they're using the afterlife. They wouldn't be with them. You know, that's just one quick analogy of what I'm thinking about that, you know. And so, what happened here? Messing with stuff. And so, yeah, those teeth would be with them, or the kings that are in the mummies, so to speak, or the remains of the kings that were in the tombs. If their skeletal remains are there, they're not using them. They're not using them in the afterlife. They're not, because they wouldn't still be there. So, you know, people, we dress up our deceased, and we lay them out. And according to another one, now that was harder than going around the block, and more difficult. And so, according to our deceased, we dress them up. And if you are black, there's always the drama drum. Well, all families, there's a drama drum. I'm gonna assume that. And some worse than others. Oh my gosh. And dress them up, and in accordance with what Kenneth Copeland's wife, Gloria Copeland, I heard her once say, everybody's gonna go, and when you go, they're gonna dress you up, comb your hair. They're gonna wash. Someone's gonna wash you up, comb your hair, do your makeup, and you're probably gonna look better than you did when you were alive. And I laughed so hard. The baby's going to school. Get in the car. I laughed so hard because she was telling the truth. She said, someone's gonna wash you up, do your hair and makeup, and you're probably gonna look better than when you were alive. I laughed so hard because that is reality, and that's the truth. That is the truth, okay? And probably do a better job, you know? And that would be it for you. So, the last person I saw was my Aunt Sharon, and she looked nice, other than feeling squished, looking squishy, but there was a reason for that. And people don't cremate me. My husband did not want to be cremated because for some reason he was supposed to feel the burn. That's his thought. But that's why I go back to the mental illness of things. The mental illness of things makes you worry about how you're going to feel after you're dead. And it just really, if you thought of some of the stuff we thought and felt, you would know that just doesn't make sense. Like, you're not going to feel anything because you're supposed to be gone, you know. And if you're gone, then you don't feel. And why are you worried about it? You know, like, you're worried about how you're going to feel after you're gone, you know. And would I call that mental illness? I don't know. I could call it that, or I could call it confusion. I don't know. Have I worried about it? No, the older I'm getting, the more I'm starting to even consider this kind of thing. Like, you hear other people go, and we all know people have gone. Unfortunately, the kids know a lot because when we were kids, when I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of classmates pass away. Like, I don't remember no classmates passing away. And my first classmate passed away. She was an adult that I knew of, and she had an aneurysm or something. And somebody else said it was a broken heart. I'm not sure, but and we were all adults. I had a baby actually at that point, so it might have been 1998 or 97 or something. Yeah, did I have a baby? I did. I was married. Yeah, so, you know, and you don't think about it because it's gonna be you. You know, and some people do think about it. Some people think about it too much. Some people don't think about it all. I didn't think about it in the way of, hey, you're gonna die, and that's that. I just think about it, hey, you're gonna die, who's gonna take care of your kids? You know, like, my kids are gonna be little. And the truth is that didn't think of anything other than that with that, because I was more concerned that you know, their condition was going to be horrific based on you know, the caregiver. I'm gonna sign up for a minute. I should not be U-turning here. You know what? That's not what I want to do. I'm gonna go up to this park and I'm gonna try and get my walk in. Don't U-turn here. Go straight. The caregiver, the quality of the caregiver, like my husband, I used to get scared because I'm thinking, geez, if he becomes the head of the household, that my girls are going to suffer. And I'm not going to lie to you, because of the inability, the lack ability, is that the word? I don't know if lack ability and ability should be used in this case, because some people don't have the skills to do something. Some people won't do it. Okay, whether they have the skills or not, they're just not going to do it, and they're not going to do it as effectively as you, and that's fine. You know, if you do your best, that's all you got. I do believe that when you freeze and you just won't do it, it's like, it's the same thing. Some people do have the ability, but they don't have the esteem to do what they need to do in order to handle their handle. Look at these leaves. And if you're suffering with ODP, then you're not going to do it, because ain't nobody going to tell you. Oppositional behavior disorder is real. Even when it defeats you as a person, you need to handle your business. You've been being told to handle your business. Ain't nobody telling me to handle my business. So I'm not going to pay my bills even though I got $1 million because you're not going to tell me. So if you're raising kids and you just got this whole oppositional thing going on in opposition to yourself, then you're not going to do what is necessary to take care of your kids. You know, so I just worry about that and not the fact that should I pass on my affairs in order? Should I pass on, are the girls going to be okay as far as emotionally? Should I pass on ceremoniously or unceremoniously? You know, am I creating a hardship for someone else? I thought about it in terms, honestly, in terms of finance. I thought about it in terms of caregiving and people taking advantage of my children. I thought about it in terms of everything but the emotional part of it. And I think it's a disservice when I look back, but because the package wasn't a complete think about it. Because it's just not about money. It isn't. And they could have $1,000,000,000,000,000 at their disposal or for their use, and they have a horrible caregiver. And was he a horrible caregiver? I don't want to say horrible, but he suffered from oppositional behavior disorder. So you couldn't send him a bill and tell him to pay your phone bill by the 25th. I'm not doing it. Because who are you to tell me to pay this by the 25th? I am Verizon, and that is your due date. And what is the problem? If you need more time, we will grant you more time to pay this bill. And it don't even be about time. This oppositional behavior disorder comes with just some blockages. And oh my God, it's so beautiful. And so you know, I kind of got off topic, but you know, he never thought that he would either, because as long as I think it, then it is so. And I'm like, no, works without action. I think of that. I'm sorry. Yeah, works without action, I think it is. But he oftentimes made a lot of decisions based on his emotions alone. And I used to say based on what? Because I'm probably more scientific. But I know that people have energy fields and energy waves about their thoughts about why something is or is going to be. Now, I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is that you can't base it all on that. Like, how do you know that this is okay? Because I feel like it. That's how I feel. I feel it. I'm like, okay, but that's not enough. In some cases, it's just not enough. As far as us feeling, you know, I got a good feeling about this. I have a bad feeling about this. Yada, yada, fine. But, you know, some people go on that alone, which makes you an expert on everything, which means that you're incorrect because you're not an expert on everything and you could be wrong. Now, when it comes to something like having the answer to everything based on your emotions, that's bad. And that's where he was. So he's just an example of the mental illness that we all suffer from. And thinking that it's not you. Like this person say, my brother Tyrone had a woman who was in his Buddhist group, and I had met her and everything, and you know, it's a very interesting group of people from all walks of life. And then about a few months later, it could have been a year, I don't know, he's like, oh, I'm going to a service for my comrade or whatever they call themselves, sister in faith. And I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? And he said, she got hit by a garbage truck. I was like, oh. And he said, you know, sis, it's not unusual that people get hit by garbage trucks. No clue. I had no clue. He's like, yeah, people get garbage trucks back over people very often. She was outside of her house, and I guess she's down the corner, a garbage truck hit her. And I was like, wow, that's so unfortunate. He said, you met her? I'm like, I did? And he's like, yeah, you did. And I was like, when? He said, went to her house. And I was like, oh, which one? Because a couple of people's houses I had gone to with him. And this lady had a really nice altar in her house. But it was funny because she was tall, thin, reminded me of another relative. And she had her hair Bantu knots or something like that. Dark skinned lady, nice teeth. And I remember older, she was very shiny, and like she looked clean, and she had a really beautiful altar in her house, and wooden or ornate. And the first thing I thought when I saw it was voodoo. I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought about voodoo, but it also opened my eyes that not everything is voodoo, as you know, as we've been told by Hollywood. So I let that go. And her house was very bright. And I was like, oh, her. And she's like, yeah, I lived over there on Franklin Avenue. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, who knew? Did this woman know that when she got up and got dressed that day, that she would get hit by a garbage truck and I would be it for her? You know, she didn't. Because I don't think she would want to be hit by a garbage truck. Like, I just don't think, oh, I accept it. This is my fate. Like, no, you know? And you don't think of what's going to take you. A lot of us worry about old age and breaking down. Many of us worry about, you know, depending on, some people worry about getting shot in the streets, you know, because their reality that people are shooting all the time, and which is everybody's reality. Funny, my cousin and I were talking, and there's an area in Jersey City that they call the Wild Wild West, and then there's another area they call Bullet Town. And I said to her, yo, when we were growing up, we did not have places named that way negatively. And I blamed it on New Yorkers. I swear before God. I said, listen, that's some New Yorker thing. Because I remember back in the 80s, some girl came to work and she's like, oh, something happened in my complex. And I was like, really? So she's like, yeah, something bad. I was like, oh my gosh. She said, yeah, Miss Johnson was in a window and they shot up at the window and killed her. And I was like, whoa, like, where do you live? And she lived in some projects in Brooklyn. And I'm like, wow. Like, that's what happened to the projects in Brooklyn. Now, here's the kicker. There were projects in Jersey. But we didn't have where someone's, at that point, to my knowledge, someone is outside looking out their window, their kitchen window, and because people were shooting, the shot came up, rang out, and hit the woman in the neck in a window. You know, and so I was like clutching my pearls, like, oh, you don't understand because you're not from Jersey. I'm gonna move downtown. I'm gonna move downtown Manhattan because I could find me an apartment for $200 or $300. I'm like, not in downtown Manhattan. Like, she was so delusional. We work in the World Trade Center that she thought she could find an apartment back then for $200 or $300 a month. This is the 80s, chica, but you ain't finding no apartment in Manhattan for $200 or $300 a month. Ain't gonna happen. And then the other girl, Andrea, was like, she can find one in another project. And they're not giving them up. So I laughed so hard because she really, Marva, she really, in her infancy, because we're all young. She had a couple kids, though. A couple big kids, too. Where you come from is where you come from. Your reality is your reality. So you're not thinking that just because another person's skin is black people notorious. Anyone, skin is black, that we have the same experience. And because I lived in New Jersey, everybody thought people in New Jersey, if you lived in Jersey, oh, you were rich. And I used to think people who lived in Long Island were all rich. And Andrea lived in Long Island. She's like, no, there's in Long Island. So, but they're not shooting them at the window. And she did projects in Long Island too. I was like, I did not know that. So, because that's what we were presented on TV, like television lies. Mike Hammock used to tell me television in his little letters, prison written letters to me. And I used to be like, oh, Negroes in prison, they always getting off philosophical and stuff. When the truth is, he was telling the truth because they were in jail, so they knew more. They knew more reality. We were living this la-la land, not realizing that truth is truth, you know, and what they're telling us is a lie, is our condition is what it is. So the poor woman got killed in her kitchen. So now here we are in 2021. I guess it caught up to New Jersey. I don't know. That I know of. So my cousin says, yeah, she said, oh, I said, you know, this area up in Jersey City is called the Wild Wild West. She said, yes. I was like, what? So she said, yes. She said, because people come out their door with their guns drawn like Yosemite Sam. Pow, 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 pow. Oh my God, this video is about something else, but I'm laughing because she said that she's like, because people come out their door up there with their guns drawn like Yosemite Sam, pow, 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 pow. Because if you ever watched that cartoon back in the day, because everybody's back in the day is different. Back in the day, Yosemite Sam had them little baby feet, and his legs were like a triangle, and the big old hat, and the big old mustache and beard, and he had his 2 guns already drawn. He was shooting when the cartoon came on. So when she said that, you talk about crying tears, I was crying. I said, she said, "Oh, people come out their house, pow, 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 pow." I said, "What are they shooting about?" She says, "I don't know. I don't know." And whoever's around you, just the victim of it, you know. And I was like, what is all this shooting? And people are getting killed. And did you go to work that day saying, "Oh, let me get my coffee off the counter"? You got your coffee, walk out your front door, and this guy across the street is coming out of his house, like Yosemite Sam, and he's got the guns blazing, and you get shot by the gun down there and burn you the next day, next week, however it goes. And then John beating. So he didn't think that. He probably was going to work trying to figure out how he's going to maneuver his day. Or whatever he was thinking. Maybe his feet hurt. I don't know. Maybe he's thinking these people at work are paying the ass. You know? Maybe he's thinking, I'm quoting this person who may be thinking, maybe he's thinking, you know, I get up today, I'm going to bring my baby some flowers, and me and her go get some good food and drinks. You know? And it's Friday, you know, and I'm going to go pick my baby up, tell my baby to call her sister and get them kids so that we can go get some good food and drinks and get our groove on. And, you know, his girl or his wife would be like, "Baby, no, what about the kids? We're supposed to be taking a Chuck E. Cheese. And he'll say, this is what he's thinking now. This dude was probably thinking, yeah, she gonna say that Chuck E. Cheese business, but I'm gonna tell her again, fuck Chuck and fuck them kids. You know, let's go. You know, we gotta do us." And I'm laughing because, you know, I don't know what Calvin was thinking his last, the day before he started getting sick. But he probably was not thinking that would be his end. You know, he came back from doing his job. He did it all night, and then he came back, and we were talking whatever that morning. And so it was this conversation at 5 o'clock in the morning, wound up somewhere else. But and then so let me get up and get your stuff ready for work. And I'm like, I ain't going to work. And I feel like calling. I'm tired. He's like, you're going to work. I'm gonna iron and get your stuff ready, and I'm gonna make you coffee, because he did. And I'm like, yeah, all right, I can sleep another quick 10 minutes. Because, you know, sleeping 10 extra minutes, you could get it a little bit in. You know, you can get a little sleep in. And it started rolling. So I know he was not thinking that I'm going to die tomorrow. Like, I know he was not thinking I'm going to die tomorrow. On May 9th, 2016, when he got up and to make my coffee and to iron my clothes for work, he did not think he was going to die the next day. I certainly did not think he was going to die the next day. The girls did not think he was going to die the next day. Anyone who did not think that my husband was going to die the next day. So, like some people that are ill or whatever, they may be anticipating, you know, I'm going to die next week. I feel like I'm going to die today, you know, something. But you don't be anticipating you're going to die today. And I'm not throwing this out in the universe for me, because I got a lot of living to do. I'd love to. And so, enjoy these leaves, you know. So, I know that he did not think that today was going to be tomorrow. You know what, tomorrow I'm gonna die tomorrow, you know. And even if he did think that, he's not in control of it, because there is a creator, all right. And if the creator is not actively involved in our workings of this creation, of his creation, our daily workings, you know what, he'll have to be. He already did the creation. Boof, here's the cake, you know. And so the catalyst was struck, you know. The catalyst says boof, now living. And then the creation says we're created and we can reproduce. And the reproduction, more people are created. More people that were created can create more people, you know. So, you know, even the creator left the creation to fend for itself. There was a creator, and there is one. There is a creator, because it doesn't mean he went away. Anyone so magnificent that can create such a creation, forget about the fact that somebody's licking on this pole, you know, and give you free will. So there definitely is a creator, and he's probably somewhere else in other universes creating something else, who knows. But he decided that my creation will expire at the appointed time. And is he writing down in the book of the law that this is going to be your day? Probably not. But if it is written that we are supposed to expire, there's nothing you can do about it. There's no one who could have done anything about it. And anyone even saying that they're bringing back a creation that's time was set to expire. We have not come across one. Man is trying his best, but it's not working, because that man who's trying his best to extend a creation or extend his time here, he can't. He can't. Why not start with self? Yeah, so I don't think Calvin got up saying, tomorrow's my last day on the planet. I certainly didn't get up thinking it. I was floored. Like, whoa. And anyone who found out was floored. Like, ho. And my mom said something interesting. She said the first thing I thought was, oh my God, he was in a car wreck. Because he's on the road all the time. If your man's a truck driver or he does service work, he's on the road. A person who's a school bus driver, they're on the road. A teacher, you wouldn't think a teacher would get shot in her classroom, but that's what we've arrived from the creation, from the attitude and other principalities in this system, where a teacher would go to work as a teacher, she's teaching, and someone shoots her. Or a student would go to work as a student, go to school to learn, and he gets shot in school. Or a family would go to a concert and they get trampled at a concert. Like, they did not go to that concert thinking that I'm gonna die here. Thinking they're gonna die at all. They were thinking I'm gonna have a good time and I'm going to enjoy myself, and I've got these Travis Scott, as an example, tickets, and we're gonna dance, and we're gonna maybe Drake will show up, and sicko mode. I don't know. Yeah, I do know that. And so we don't. And I'm just starting to think about it. Thank you, James, about these lamps and lights that he mentions that we have. And it never dawned on me. Never. The first thing I said was, yo, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And he's like, no. He said, that's the reality of it. And I'm like, thank you, because you go on your day, you want to be planning this, you planning that. I got lots to close, I got paperwork to do, worry about these bills, worry about this job, worry about these kids, and worry about this car, worry about this house, worry about this universe. My health, my little hip hurt right now. I danced yesterday in the park so much. I'm sitting here now because I need to get out here again and don't give up the fight. But I don't know if I can. Like, I don't know if I want to try. And so I'm not thinking about it. Today's my last day, and prayerfully it's not, because there's some things I want to do. Like, but it's not up to me, and even in preparation, so that the girls won't be having a hard time. They got to process, a lot of things. We're still processing. Everyone, if you lost a loved one, you're still processing. My friend lost her mom, and she's still processing, and I told her it's not going to end. She's like, yeah, that's true. It's like, everybody thinks, okay, you're going to be better tomorrow. No, because that hole is there, so there's a hole, because what you're used to and what you took for granted is that your mom and your dad were in this house, and or your loved one was where they were. And when we wake up, this is going on. Yeah, there's some stuff going on, maybe some yelling, maybe not, maybe some food, maybe good times, we're traveling, blah 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 blah, but you did not anticipate that they will die. And so, and remember, my older girl was really staunch and everything, and then one day she said she was leaving work, and I was like, what's wrong? She said, I don't feel good. And I was like, okay. And I'll meet you at the house. You want me to pick you up? She's like, no, I got this. Because she's driving her own car. She said, I don't feel good. I'm like, okay, I'll meet you at the house. So I met her at the house. And when we got there, she was on the floor, crying her eyes out. And she had